Hey guys, welcome back to the Touchline Podcast, and we're bringing you something today a bit different. We haven't done a regular podcast in a while for the last 2 weeks, especially because of Christmas break, New Year's, and getting a few things done for the new studio, which we might be filming by the end of next week. So we're going to be bringing you something different. It's called Wants to Watch Players heading into the new season of the NRL in 2024. But before we get into the video, if you're new around here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, and yeah, let's get things underway. So the first team we're going to be talking about, the player to watch heading into next year, is Paul Alamoti. Now, Paul Alamoti has left the Bulldogs recently. He signed a one-year deal at the Penrith, and look, his time at the Dog hasn't been the best. Personally, us boys on the podcast have mentioned a few times that we believe that he's been rushed into the squad. He's still young, he's a very young player, and for him to be rushed in a team that hasn't been performing in the last 5 to 10 years, somewhere around that, just to put that pressure on a player that has potential. And before he joined the team, he had so much potential, and I really rated Alamoti. But when he was brought into the team, I knew that we're rushing him too much. There's going to be immense pressure on him, and it was shown in that 2023 season. He struggled, had a few good moments during the start of the year, and just towards the end just faded away. Defensively, he was not good. Attackingly, he was not good. So there was a few moments in his game where he still has to improve. And I think heading to a team like Penrith, I think he's going to develop. He's going to learn a lot. I'm not sure if he's going to start next year because, of course, Taylor May has returned back in the club. And yeah, it's going to put pressure on him if he's going to start at a club like Penrith, who have been on a 3-peat. They've won 3 premierships in a row, and now they could get a 4-peat depending on how the season pans out for them. So Alamoti could have a very fantastic season. I think he's going to learn a lot from the likes of Brian To'o. If he was to be on that right-hand side with him, you've got Taylor May, Tago. So they've got a very experienced backline, which has won premierships over the last 3 years and could be this year as well. And 2020, don't forget, they also made a grand final. So Paul Alamoti, yes, he didn't perform well at the Dogs, but I think heading into this year, I think he's going to be a once to watch for Panthers if he was to start. Next team we're going to be talking about is Brisbane Broncos. Of course, the runners-up of the 2023 season. Unfortunately, they lost to the reigning champions, the Penrith Panthers. And now the player to watch heading into 2024 season is Reece Walsh. Now, he had a fantastic season this year. 9 tries, 26 try assists. He was possibly the best fullback in the competition with the likes of Dylan Edwards. You had Kalyn Ponga, lots of great fullbacks in 2023. But now you talk about this season, why I think he's the ones to watch and why everyone's going to be keeping an eye on him is because, yes, he made a grand final. He's the reason Broncos made the grand final last year. But can he do it again? That's the big question. You look at, for example, Ben Barber back in 2012 where he had a fantastic season. Jared Hayne back in 2009, fantastic season. His stats were unbelievable. And now he's in this similar situation where a fantastic season last year, but can he repeat it? Can he continue the way he left off in 2023? Can he guide Broncos this time to the Premiership trophy? Personally, look, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. I think he's still young, and I honestly think he can bring Broncos to the Premiership trophy with the likes of Adam Reynolds. You've got a strong forward pack, a great back line. Yes, Farnworth has left, and Walsh, he may miss Farnworth, but I think they've got a good replacement coming in. Capewell has left as well, but Walsh, it's a big season for him. And if Broncos were to be considered top premiership contenders, he's the man to guide them, because without Walsh, I think they're going to really struggle. Yes, they've got Reynolds, and he can be their key player if Walsh doesn't turn up, but Walsh was their player of the season last year. Adam Reynolds was good, Payne Haas was good, but Walsh is their talisman, and without him, they're going to really struggle. So we've said Penrith, Paul Alamoti, and I think Walsh is ones to watch heading into 2024 for the Brisbane Broncos. Moving on is Eliesa Katoa from the Melbourne Storm, and for me personally, I really rate this player. I think he's a fantastic player, especially during his time at the New Zealand Warriors. That 2022 season was, yes, they didn't make it finals, but I think he was a very key player and pivotal position for the Warriors that year. But 2023 was quite a decent season for him. He started the season well. That performance against Bulldogs where he just dominated us on that right-hand side, and we really struggled to cope with him, and especially with that combination with Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes. So yeah, I think this year because of the injuries he had last year, it really affected him. He came towards the end of the season, and again, slowly his form started to come back into life. And heading into the new season, Melbourne, they required a big season. I think the last couple of years, they haven't been, yes, they made a preliminary final, but have they been really the Melbourne Storm we've seen over the last 10 years? Probably not. So that's why I think not only him, but I think Melbourne Storm need a big season, and I think he is a pivotal player heading into the season next year, because Melbourne do have a history of great second rows in the game. You've got Kevin Proctor, you've got Ryan Hoffman, and the list goes on. So Katoa, 6 tries, 12 line breaks last year, and I think this year his stats will get better, but again, it depends on Melbourne Storm if they were to perform like they did 5 years ago when they were an incredible club to watch. So I think he's one to watch next year. Now, the team that finished 4th in the NRL last year is the New Zealand Warriors, and the player to watch, and I think everyone would agree with me, is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. And now, I think it was 2022 he was in the game, and then he wanted a break from the game, and then 2023 he had his own personal life, and now he's back. He's officially back in the game, and I think he is the ones to watch for New Zealand Warriors. Look, you got Nico Kostlin, where I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure, but he had a fantastic season last year, an incredible season, and almost got, of course, Warriors to the grand final, the biggest stage of all. And now, where would Roger Tuivasa-Sheck play? I'm not sure. Maybe on the wing, but you've got Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, you've got Marcelo Montoya. So is he going to be replacing one of those? Which I believe those two wingers they're probably one of the best wingers in the game last year. So I believe he may be shifted to fullback. Is he going to take time to gel in? So his time at the Warriors before he left the game, as well as Roosters, he was an incredible player, one of the greatest fullbacks in the game with Tedesco. He was at his prime. And now, yes, he's still, I think, a decent age to play footy. I think he's got a bright future. He's got a bright career heading into next year. And look, Warriors were just missing that key player, and I think that key player was him. He's that little spark at the fullback. Don't get me wrong, the fullback they had last year was good, but he's that extra level that can maybe push him to maybe a grand final with the likes of Sean Johnson in their team. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, a perfect and incredible team, and I can't wait to see what Warriors produce next season. And I think it will be a good year with the likes of Roger Tuivasa-Sheck in his team. Now, moving to the Dally M winner from the Newcastle Knights is Kalyn Ponga, and I honestly think it's a big year for him. It's honestly a big season for him. 2023 was a success. Started the season slow, picked up a few injuries, concussions, as usual, as we've seen over the years, but I honestly think it's a must. It's a big year for him, and I'm an NRL fan that really never saw the potential he had. I didn't rate him. I think he was overrated by a few of the NRL experts as well as fans. You look at the likes of Tedesco, Dylan Edwards, Latrell Mitchell, Turbo, that were performing on a consistent basis and on the top level, and that's something Ponga has missed. Maybe because of injury, I can accept that. Maybe that's affected him and not performing and reaching the level like the fullbacks I've been mentioning. But Kalyn Ponga, I think it's a big season for him. He needs to perform. You look at his stats last year, 9 tries, 21 try assists. But heading into this season, can Knights really show that it wasn't a one-season wonder? Can they perform the way they ended last year? You look at Cowboys. It was a one-season wonder when they made it 2022 into the finals, preliminary final. And last year, they really dipped in performance and form-wise. And Kalyn Ponga is the same. Is it a one-season wonder? Can he keep that consistency? And it's all about remaining fit. And if injuries, concussion, you can't do much if he was to get injured. I like Kalyn Ponga before. Like I said, I didn't rate him, but I think it's a must. It's a season where he needs to succeed. That's why he's my once to watch heading into 2024 season for the Newcastle Knights. Now, of course, the next player I'm going to be mentioning is Talakai from the Cronulla Sharks, which I both think Sharks did underperform as well as Talakai. I think, especially in the 2022 season where he performed, he was incredible. I can't forget that performance against the Manly where he scored 4 tries, I'm pretty sure. He just dominated that left-hand side and Manly couldn't cope with him. And last year, he had a good start, I guess, but towards the end, and especially because of Sharks' performances, he wasn't really living up to the expectations we all thought as NRL fans. And I think this year is the year for Talakai, and it could be the year for the Sharks. 2 years, they made the finals, but they've choked it in the semi-finals and elimination finals in the last 2 years. And Craig Fitzgibbon is under pressure, I think. If they don't reach the finals, if they don't make at least preliminary final, that's the expectation for them. I think he could be sacked. And I believe Talakai could be his last year at the Sharks if he doesn't perform. Could he start this year after a poor season in 2024, as well as Nico Hines up and down? So Sharks are really in need of a big season. They need to make it to a grand final maybe. The last time they made it was 2016 when they broke the drought. So Talakai, he has potential. He's very strong on that left-hand side with, I think it's Ronaldo Militalo. Great combination, got a few assists. Not a lot of tries, but that's something to improve on in 2024. So, like I said, he's a great player, fantastic player. We saw what he can do in 2022. So there's a lot of pressure on him. Fans will expect a lot from him, especially from Sharks fans. So yeah, 2024, he's the one to watch for the Cronulla Sharks. All right, next player, we're going on to Brendan Smith. Brendan Smith, I think, was the flop of the year. Of course, there's a lot of signings. Hayes Perham, did Reed Marnie reach the potential us Doggies thought he would? But yeah, he's on the list of the flop of the year in 2023. And heading into a team, especially transitioning from a club like Melbourne to Roosters, it was always going to be difficult for Brendan Smith. And especially because Roosters didn't have the best of season, and Melbourne had a very inconsistent season. And I think if it was at Melbourne Storm, I think he would have performed. But at Roosters, they did really have a poor start to the season. And just towards the end, they clicked into gear. They got into finals, and Brendan Smith did perform at the end of the season. But it's a bit too late when you perform that late, especially in the season. And Brendan Smith, you expect more from him. He's a very hard-working hooker, a hard-working player, and he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but it's a must big season for him heading into 2024. And for the Roosters, they've got a few signings. Dominic Young, a few players, I'm not sure who they've signed, but Dominic Young is the big marquee signing for the Roosters. And heading into 2024, look, there's that theory for Roosters. Every October 6th, they make a grand final, they win it. Dogs, we've got our own theory. Could it be a Roosters Bulldogs grand final? Maybe. Take it back to 04 when they last met together. But I think he's got attacking ability. His defensive ability is crazy. I think he's the best hooker in the game to score from dummy half, when you're especially close to the 10-meter line, or even in the 50-meter line, where he finds that gap and makes a run through. So it's a big season for him, and I believe Brendan Smith could be the one to watch for Roosters in 2024. Now moving on to the Canberra Raiders, I honestly think, and you may think I'm crazy, but I think he could be one of the best players in the season, Xavier Savage. And why I say this, last year he did get 12 tries. He got 3 try assists in 2023 for the Raiders. You can see he's got the whole package in the fullback role. He's fast. He's got the vision. He's just crazy, especially when I saw him against Parramatta when they got humiliated in the finals in 2022. You could see what he can produce. And that line break he made, he stepped a defender and just ran and bolted through the back line of the Parramatta Eels. But yeah, it's a big season for him. I think for the last 2 years, he's been performing well. And I believe he can keep that consistency going. Maybe, I think, look, Parramatta do need a fullback, and he's the type of fullback that I think they should be approaching and maybe signing up if he was on the market. He's got a fantastic future, and he's still at a young age, and he's developing into, for me, a very good fullback, and maybe one of the best in maybe the 5-10 years if he can move to a big club and maybe win a premiership one day. He's got the whole package. Could he get fullback Daily M next year? Maybe, but again, it's all about 2024 and having a good season. It's just, look, it's a prediction right now. It doesn't mean he's going to have a good season, but I believe how good he is and what I've seen from 2023 and 2022, I think it's a big season for him and Raiders as well. Raiders just need to get top 8 and see what finals has for them if they were to make it. But yeah, he's my ones to watch heading to next year. Anyways, guys, that's a wrap to another Touchline podcast video. If you like this sort of video, leave a comment down below, leave a like, and tell us what type of videos you would like to see on the Touchline podcast. But yeah, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, comment down below, and yeah, Touchline out.